Property taxes for single-family homes have increased to $363 billion. That's a dramatic increase from $339 billion in 2022. This is the largest increase in the last 5 years. In this video, we'll hear from two people whose property taxes have skyrocketed, and we're also going to hear from somebody whose home insurance has increased exponentially, because that's also a problem as well. I also want to clear up some misinformation I've seen online about how exactly property taxes work. So make sure you watch the whole video so I can explain that to you. But first, I need you to hit that subscribe button. If you want to get better at real estate investing, you have to follow this channel. Also, make sure you go to the description. I have a bunch of free resources that'll help you get started in real estate investing. First, we need to discuss exactly how your mortgage is typically broken down. You have your principal, you have your interest, you have your property taxes, and you have your insurance. If you never refinance and you got a loan with a fixed interest rate, then your principal and your interest will stay the same for the life of the loan. Your taxes and insurance are always subject to change. They can and usually do increase over time. This is something that you need to understand before you buy a property. As an investor, of course, you want to make cash flow, but it's important to leave room for property taxes and insurance to increase over time, because you don't want to find yourself in a situation where you didn't plan ahead and you're no longer making money. Now let's hear from real people in their property tax nightmares.
The perils of property taxes taking a toll on Tamara Ransom. She bought her Winter Haven home last May, but less than a year later, it's on the market after receiving an unwelcome surprise.
I felt like I'd been baited and switched. When you buy a house, I see the taxes at $2,700. I expect it'll vary a little bit, you know, a few hundred, $1,000, but in no way did I expect it would go up 174%.
Many new homeowners faced this sticker shock when they received their trim notices with their new assessed home value. Those bills were due at the end of March. You have been doing what you can to try to make this work.
It's very upsetting because I put most of my savings into the house, the down payment and the things, you know, alarm systems and things like that. And I'm losing all of that because I have to sell the house and I'm not going to get really anything back. And then I have to look for a new house.
Now, what's happening to this woman is absolutely horrible. There's no reason for someone who just purchased a property to get hit with a crazy tax bill that they can't afford. However, we need to understand why this is happening. Property taxes took an unusually high turn upward last year, pushing effective rates up, while huge gaps in the average tax bills between different parts of the country remained in place, said Rob Barber, CEO at Atom. The tax increases were likely connected, at least in part, to inflationary pressures on the cost of operating local governments and schools, along with the rising public employee wages and other major expenses. So you mean to tell me the cost of running the city of Tampa, the cost of paying the government employees has increased so much in such a short period of time that a woman who barely just bought the house is forced to sell because they ran up her property taxes? That's not adding up to me. The last time I checked, wages for the majority of people and the majority of you watching have not really increased that much over the last few years. So I don't really understand what's going on here. You let me know in the comments what you think about that. If you thought the Tampa story was bad, it gets worse.
We're going to be out taxed from all of our homes.
In South Suburban Lyons Township, Jamie Flaws, her husband, and many of their neighbors fear the end of their close-knit neighborhood. They're anxious that they may have to move because of property tax assessment spikes. Some face increases of nearly 650%. Residents say those assessment increases don't match the market values of their homes.
We probably won't be able to sell these homes because they're not even close to being worth what the assessment says.
Because of the new assessments, the Flaws property taxes will more than double from $7,000 a year to more than $16,000 a year.
It will destroy my kids' futures because all of our investment has been for 36 years in our home and land.
After losing their first appeal, the Flaws hired an independent appraiser who found the market value of their home to be half as much as what the Cook County Assessor's Office declared, $450,000 compared to the assessor's $878,000.
The biggest problem I have is they're allowing these property taxes to run up so quickly. It's almost as if they want people to lose their homes. Who can withstand some of these crazy increases that we're seeing? I just don't get it. The extended clip also shared that the county county assessor's office made some mistakes when they were assessing the land values in the county. There's no excuse for this. That's a mistake that should not be made because these are people's livelihoods at stake. These are people's homes at stake. Whether you're an investor or whether you're someone who's living inside of that home, it's hard for everybody. So I don't see why it's okay for them to just say, oh, hey, I'm sorry, we made a mistake. So now I want to share something personal with you that I actually haven't shared with that many people. When I purchased my first rental property, I didn't understand how property taxes worked. In the first couple of years of owning the property taxes increased several times. And by the end, I was barely making any cash flow. I was fortunate enough to have a tenant move out, and rent in the area ran up 50%. So I was able to increase the rent quite a bit, and I was back to making cash flow again. So I'm thankful for that. I could have easily been in the same situation as some of the people we've seen today and as people all over the country. Unfortunately, the online gurus never said anything about property taxes. All they mentioned was that you'll get cash flow, tenants will pay the rent, but no one ever talked about the increase in property taxes. No one ever talked about the increase in insurance. And I think that's really unfortunate. So I want to make sure that we talk about those things today. Before you buy a property to live in or to rent out, call the county tax office or the county assessor's office and ask them how property taxes work in that county. Ask them how often they assess the property taxes. You can even go as far as saying, hey, I'm planning to purchase this property for, say, $125,000. What can I expect the property taxes to be after I purchase the property? I just want to make sure I'm prepared. And typically they'll share the formula with you. They might even tell you what you can expect and when you can expect it. Making this simple call can help you be prepared as much as you can. So taxes aren't the only thing that have been increasing like crazy over the last couple of years. Home insurance is something else that has been increasing like crazy, and folks are losing their homes because of it. Let's check out a real life situation.
It was a safe haven for everybody. We laughed, we talked, we slept on the floor, we danced, we had barbecues.
And the meals were shared with anyone who walked in the door. Every weekend, Rochelle's son would bring his friends over to spend the night.
And I literally raised them, 4 boys in that house with my son. And every weekend, if they didn't play football or baseball, they were at the house.
But she recently sold that home because she couldn't afford the rising insurance premium. Her monthly mortgage went up $1,200.
Like, I feel robbed because I worked so hard to get my home. For them to have the increase of the insurance, just take it away. It's a lot because I was a single mother by myself. And people said that I couldn't afford this house. But in spite of what they said, I fought through and I kept my house. And I kept it till I couldn't keep it no more.
A $1,200 increase per month. I don't know anybody who can reasonably withstand that cost. I think it's unfair. I think there needs to be a lot more regulation in place to make sure that folks aren't forced to sell their homes that they work so hard for. The unfortunate thing is she's not the only one experiencing this. There are plenty of other people within her state and other states who are experiencing their home insurance go up to such a ridiculous amount. Her pay didn't go up $1,200 a month, and now her insurance is up $1,200 a month. I just don't think it's right. However, we do need to understand why this is happening. Louisiana's homeowners have been caught in a relentless cycle of insurance premium hikes due to natural disasters, with the rates soaring on average by 27% from May 2022 to May 2023, according to Policy Genius's home insurance report issued late last year. The steep increase is a direct consequence of the state being hit by a series of hurricanes that wreaked havoc on the state. As I was doing further research, because of the hurricanes over the last 4 years, almost 800,000 claims have been filed. Florida is also having the same problem. According to the Insurance Information Institute, homeowners insurance has increased 102% in the last 3 years in Florida and costs 3 times more than the national average. The average cost of home insurance in the Sunshine State in 2023 was about $6,000, the highest average premium in the U.S. This is absolutely ridiculous that this is allowed to happen, regardless of the natural disaster or not. It's not feasible for most people. Most people will lose their homes, end up selling their homes, in some cases, not making anything on the sale and going back to being renters because they probably won't be able to afford to buy another home, especially with how high prices have gone up over the last few years. What I recommend, if you're buying a rental property or a home to live in, you should always be shopping around for home insurance. I need to do a better job of this, but you should be looking around several times a year to see if you can get a better price for the same coverage. At the end of the day, These companies want to make money. It is what it is. That's business. However, you need to protect yourself. You need to make sure you're getting the best value for the service. So now that you know about property taxes and insurance, I want you to learn about 7 states where I would avoid buying real estate in 2024. Check out this video right here.